Hey ladies, it's Becky Fox here at the Criticalbench compound, and today I want to talk about what it takes for a body transformation if you're a woman over 40. So there's two big myths that I see a lot out there that's really keeping women stuck, and it's the reason why you're trying to lose weight but you're not getting anywhere. And the first one has to do with nutrition in your diet, and it's really about following these really strict, really extreme diets where you're either going low calorie or you're giving up all your favorite foods or you're cutting carbs out completely. And the thing is, you don't have to do that. And I'm going to share what you can be doing instead here in just a minute. The other myth that I hear a lot or see a lot is that you have to do tons of cardio in order to lose weight. But the reality is cardio is not the best way for you to lose weight. If anything, it might actually be keeping you from reaching your goals because it's increasing your hunger, it's increasing your cravings. And well, I don't know about you, but most women I know don't want to spend hours a day doing cardio. I've done it before and I don't want to do it again, and I'm sure you don't either. So let's start with diet. Let's talk about nutrition. So like I mentioned before, many people believe they have to go really low calorie diets, maybe 800, 1,000, or even 1,200 calories a day to lose weight, and then give up all your favorite foods, your bread, your cookies, and all the things in the world. And yes, will doing some of that stuff help you? But the problem is when we go too low on calories, when we restrict too much, it actually can backfire, and it can backfire for a couple of different reasons. One is because for women especially, when we go too low on calories, our body actually starts to burn off muscle, it increases cravings, it increases hunger, and in the long run, this can actually make it even harder to sustain that diet. So we often fall off track, going right back to old habits, and rebound weight gain is what happens. And part of the reason that rebound weight gain happens is because when we go too low on calories and we restrict too much, our metabolism slows down. We actually start to burn off muscle. And I'm going to talk about why muscle is so important here in just a minute when we start talking about exercise. But here's the thing. So we lower the metabolism. And the problem is it doesn't come back right away even when we start eating what we were eating before. It stays lowered for a very long time. And I've seen so many women over time where they diet and they diet and they diet again and again. It'll work for a while, but at some point your metabolism will just give up, and a lot of times it will stop. I've seen women where they will eat 800 calories a day and they won't lose a single pound. And that is a huge problem. So what do we got to do instead? Okay. We want to get off this restriction. We want to get off this deprivation. We got to actually eat what our body needs in order to maximize our hormones, to maximize our metabolism, and also just to feel good. Because when we're eating really restrictively, I don't know about you guys, but it's not a great feeling. It's pretty miserable. I've done a lot of those really crazy diets, and it was a lot of effort, a lot of willpower that went into that. And that's why I never could stick to it for very long. And I'm sure you've been there as well, and you know exactly what it is I'm talking about here. It's not fun. And here's the thing, when it's not fun and it's miserable and we don't look forward to it, guess what? It's never going to be something that we can do in the long run and that we can stick to. We actually have to feel good. We have to feel good and energized. We have to feel good about the foods we're eating. We got to enjoy the foods we're eating. And that's the stuff that's really going to help us to stay on track in the long run. So instead of trying to cut really low, okay, we don't want to overeat, but we don't want to cut too low either. We want to get into the middle range. And the key to that is finding a good balance where we're not hungry all the time. So part of this is just tuning into what our body is telling us. So it's instead of like white knuckling through hours and hours of hunger, which happens when you're eating 800 calories a day, it's hard not to be starving all day long. We want to start balancing out our meals in a way that we feel good. We can go 4 or 5 hours before we have to eat again. So what does that mean? That means having a nice balance of the 4 important food groups, which is protein, a carb, yes, you get to have carbs, having a healthy fat, and also having a vegetable as well. And it's amazing when you start putting these meals together this way, you don't have to eat these tiny portions like we've been told. This actually turns out to be a lot of food when we're eating good, wholesome, natural foods, and we're balancing it out. Because I don't know about you, but I've never seen anybody overeat chicken and broccoli, right? So when we start putting healthy food on our plate, and we start putting balanced food on our plate, and we're eating enough to feel good, to feel full for a couple hours, guess what? That's going to be so much easier for us to stick to in the long run. So my challenge for you is to focus on getting 3 to 4 meals like that a day, where you have just a nice, good serving at each meal and you feel good. You're going to know, because if you're hungry in an hour, that's telling you didn't quite have enough at that meal. You either ate too small of portions or you didn't balance it out with all those 4 things I was talking about. And if you could go hours and hours and hours without eating, you ate too much. And we all know that feeling, because we've all been there on Thanksgiving, right? Where we're just full for hours. So that's a sign that, maybe you overdid it a little bit at that meal. So that's the way I like to gauge what you're eating, is balancing out those meals, listening to what your hunger is actually telling you, and then just make sure you're focusing on 3 to 4 meals a day. We don't have to eat 6-7 times a day. We don't have to eat every 2 hours. We want to balance it out, because eating too often will actually cause us to gain weight. But we also don't want to just eat 1 time a day, right? So there is a good balance with how often we're eating throughout the day, how we're putting those meals together, and then just listening to those hunger levels. All right, now let's talk about exercise. So many women out there I know are being told they have to spend an hour, 2 hours a day doing cardio. So you're hopping on the treadmill, you're hopping on the elliptical, and you're bored out of your mind going for an hour, 2 hours every day. Been there, done that. I don't want to have to do that again. Now, if you love to go out and run, cool, that's awesome. But for many people, I find they don't really want to have to do that every day. And the problem with that is we don't actually want to do too much cardio, because one of the problems with that is when we work out too long and too intensely like that, it does a couple things. One, it can actually increase our hunger. So even though you're burning all these calories on the treadmill, what happens is you tend to overeat later in the day to make up for that. So that's not really going to help you in the long run. The other issue is that we can tend, if all we're doing is cardio without strength training, which I'll get to here in just a second, you start to burn off muscle. And I told you before, we're gonna talk about muscle, because muscle for women is super important. I know you might be thinking, oh my gosh, I don't want to look like He-Man or Arnold Schwarzenegger or whoever, right, with the big muscles. But when you actually add some nice lean muscle tone, you will boost your metabolism. You burn more calories at rest without even having to try. And the problem with cardio is that we actually, when we do too much, we can start to burn off that muscle, and it starts to slow our metabolism. And we know we don't want a slow metabolism. I always like to think about it like, think about a person that maybe runs a marathon that's really thin, right? Versus a sprinter. Think about an Olympic sprinter. Think how fit and toned their body is. Okay, now I know we're not trying to get that get that muscly, but it shows you the difference between doing a lot of cardio versus doing something less for a shorter amount of time, where we can actually maintain that muscle. So one great way to do it is more high intense exercise. So we do shorter bursts. Think like sprinting, but it doesn't have to be going out for a run. You could even just do this on an elliptical that's lower impact and kind of go at a faster pace, and then follow that with a little recovery period, and then a faster pace again. So you're only doing this for maybe 15 or 20 minutes. So the benefit of that is also that it saves you a lot of time. And I know you're busy. You probably have a lot going on. You don't want to spend all day working out. So that's one way you can hit your cardio. The other thing that's probably the most important thing that you absolutely want to be incorporating, and I would do this before to even worry about the high intensity cardio, and that is strength training. Okay, strength training is going to help you build that muscle, build that tone. Don't worry, it's going to be really hard for you to get too bulky. Okay, this is not something that actually happens as easily as we think. It's going to actually help you to get tone. Okay, when we start adding muscle onto our body, it looks good, first of all, right? Second of all, it boosts that metabolism. Just having muscle on your body takes a lot of energy to keep it there. So by just having more muscle, our metabolism increases, we burn more calories, and it just helps us overall, because we're going to feel good, we're going to have more energy, and that's going to help us to stay on track with our food, with our workouts, and just feel good as we go about our day. Because like I said, when we feel good, guess what? It's so much easier for us to stay on track. All right, now the last piece of this that's really going to help you to transform your body if you're a woman over 40 is two things that are often overlooked and they're not really talked about a whole lot. And that's actually getting enough sleep and help managing our stress. And these things work together because when our sleep's off and our stress is all crazy, lots of things can happen. Our hormones get imbalanced, our hunger levels get confused, and we tend to eat more than we should. Our energy is low, our cravings go up, so then it makes it harder for us to stay on track with the food choices we're trying to make, and it's just a big old mess. So one of the best things you can do first is focus on your sleep. And we've all heard it a million times. We need to be getting that quality sleep 7 to 8 hours a night. Now, if you're somebody that's only sleeping 6 hours a night, don't worry, you can start small, even just bumping up to 6.5, and then over time getting to 7 and working your way up to that 8 hours of sleep is gonna be tremendous for you. Sleep is so important. And it's not just about getting sleep, but also focusing on getting nice quality sleep. So all the things you've heard about making sure the room is dark and it's cool in there and avoiding eating too close to bed, it's not only gonna help you to get more sleep, but it's gonna help you to get that quality sleep that helps your body recover. So it helps you recover from those workouts, and you can go into your next day feeling energized, having those hormones balanced so you make better food choices throughout the day, and you're more likely to reach your goals because your body's in a good place to burn the fat and to stay on track. Now, stress is a big part of this as well. So many women don't realize when we're stressed out constantly all the time, that has a huge impact on our hormones as well. A hormone cortisol is actually this belly fat hormone. So if you're a woman that tends to struggle with the belly, stress might be a huge part of that. So managing your stress is going to be super important. Now, can we avoid stress completely? Absolutely not. Especially in the world we live in today, there's always going to be stress every single day. It's just part of life. But what you can do is start to find ways to manage your stress. It could be, working out, doing some strength training is a great way to do that. But it might be something as simple as going for a walk or, reading a really good book that you enjoy or doing a hobby. So finding some time for yourself to do things that you love, things that you enjoy, things that lift you up and make you feel better is really going to be huge. And for a lot of women, when we get stressed out, what do? We tend to eat a lot too. So finding other activities and things you enjoy are really going to help you to eat less of that junky stuff and just help your body balance the hormones that are going to kick in and help you burn more fat so you can get that body transformation that you're looking for. So ladies, if you are ready to transform your body, then here is a little recap of what we just talked about. So the first thing is quit with those crazy diets, quit with the low calories, stop cutting out all the carbs. It is not helping you in the long run. Instead, focus on getting nice balanced meals, get that protein, have a little bit of carbs, have some fat, have some protein. Your body is going to thank you for it and you're going to notice it in your weight loss as well. As far as that exercise goes, let's get away from, yes, you can still do some cardio, but let's not spend the hours and hours and hours doing cardio. I want you to really focus in on strength training and doing those weights and building that muscle because that is going to help you boost that metabolism and you're going to get some nice sexy tone that's going to look good on your body as well. Okay, and also don't forget, sleep and stress are just as important as the diet as well as the exercise. We have to focus on the lifestyle factors that are going to help us to reach our goals as well. And when we put all these things together, it's going to help us to balance our hormones so that we can burn off that stubborn fat and get the results that we're looking for. All right, ladies, so we talked about that strength training and I have something for you that you're gonna love. So our firm and tight mini band workouts is a great way to get started with the strength training workouts if you are not doing them. And what I love is you get these awesome little mini bands that come with it and they're great because they don't take up a lot of space in your house. You can take them with you anywhere, so there's no excuse to not be consistent with those workouts and start building that muscle and that metabolism. So be sure to check this out in the pinned comments below. You can click that link to learn more. And of course, if you like this video, hit that like button. But if you have any questions, comment below and let us know because we'd love to hear what your questions are and just help you on your journey. Thanks so much for watching this.